42 teams to go on my road to predict all 131 teams this college football offseason. We're moving on out to the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, yet another newcomer in the Sun Belt Conference in 2022. And this is a Southern Miss team that, well, their record last year is not going to impress anyone. They were an abysmal 3-9. And their offense was not great either. But when you look deeper than just surface level, this is the Southern Miss team that had to deal with injuries last year, especially to the quarterback position. So, is this a Southern Miss team that can push their way into the postseason in 2022? Or is this a Southern Miss team that, yet again, will fail to stay healthy and miss out on a bowl game? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate, and welcome to my channel. I'm predicting all 131 teams this college football offseason, which means I'm doing your favorite team. I possibly may have already done your favorite team, but in case I haven't, hit the subscribe button down below. Or if you want to hear my opinions about your favorite team throughout the season, again, hit that subscribe button down there. I'll do videos during the season as well, and ring the bell so you know when a video gets uploaded. And the fans of the Southern Miss Golden Eagles out there, you guys are going to know a lot more about this team than I do. So if you feel like I missed something, you want to add something, please give me your thoughts on this team down in the comment section below. But without further ado, Southern Miss 2022. They are my 7th ranked team in the Sun Belt Conference. And honestly, you could switch them in South Alabama. I'm not going to have a problem whether you have one at 7, one at 8, or flip-flop it. I personally have South Alabama at 8, Southern Miss at 7. But when you take a look at this team from a year ago, they were only 3-9. They were 2-6 in the conference. It just wasn't a good year for Southern Miss in the slightest. But hey, well, again, let me kind of show you how bad of a year it was, at least offensively. And again, they had to deal with injuries on the offensive side of the ball, but only 266 yards per game, not even 18 points per game. This was the worst offense in Conference USA and one of the worst offenses in the nation last year. And again, I'll kind of explain more on why that is here in a little bit. But overall, this Southern Miss team just was not good on the offensive end. On the defensive end, this was a pretty solid team here in Southern Miss. 357 yards per game with around 28 points per game. So get the scoring defense down. But hey, only allowing 357 yards per game. Pretty good start there for this Southern Miss defense. And Golden Eagles fans, if you want more news, if you want more good news, this is a team that returns a lot in returning production, as you see by my list of players that are leaving / transferring out being relatively short. But there are a couple guys leaving this team that I do feel like I need to mention, and they're all on the list. You lose a couple not necessarily key pieces of the wide receiver, but they're still pieces nonetheless. Antoine Robinson has gone out of the wide receiver position. Only had 107 yards a season ago. You're also losing Daquan Bailey-Brown, only 29 yards a season ago. But you are losing your starting tight end, all right? Grayson Gunter is gone, or at least was the leading receiver at the tight end position last year. Had 182 yards on 15 catches. Did have a touchdown in those 15 catches there as well. So a couple key pieces out of the backfield. Out of the wide receiver position gone for this team. When you look at the defensive line lost a lot of depth. None of these guys were really key starting figures, but this is a lot of depth. Well, the only starting figure on here maybe was Eric Kitchen, who had 28 tackles, 3.5 sacks a season ago. But otherwise, Michael Pleas, Taj Sykes, Everett Cunningham, each contributed their fair share amount. I believe they all had over 15 tackles a season ago. They're all gone. So you lose at least 50 tackles worth of production there. And then you also lose Tyrick Moody, who had 23 tackles, 2 passes defended. He's gone out of the defensive back position right there. So you lose some key depth on the defensive line. You lose a depth guy and Tyrick Moody there as well. But again, like I said, there's a lot coming back for this team. And I think people forget that because of the amount of injuries last year. They had, I'm looking at the list now, they had at least 10 guys attempt a pass for them last year. Think about how crazy this is. They had at least 10 players throw at least one pass, complete or not, a season ago. But they do return a lot of those players at the quarterback position. Ty Keys probably figures to be that starting quarterback. Again, got hurt last year, 355 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. There are a couple other guys behind him, though. Trey Lau probably ended up being that second string guy. Had 232 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He's gone from a season ago. And then Jake Lange, a true freshman that was kind of forced to start for this team last year. threw 137 passes, 57% completion percentage for 843 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. So again, not a great year for any quarterback really on this team. Although, besides their running back, Frank Gore. So Frank Gore Jr. is coming back, of course, the son of the NFL legend Frank Gore. Had 801 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground, but passing, he had the best passer rating by far out of anyone on this list. Was 10 of 16. That's a 62.5% completion percentage, 189 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception, due for a real high passer rating. So, I mean, statistically from a season ago, Frank Gore was your best quarterback. But no, he will be that starting running back, and I expect Ty Keys to probably end up getting that starting quarterback job. But they're also getting a transfer over from Mississippi State, a former safety in Janari Dean turned running back. He's going to come over and play running back for Southern Miss, but you also have guys like Dejon Richard and Tavius Willis, some guys there that are coming back for this team as well. Wide receiver position, you have Jason Brownlee coming back. He was your leading receiver a season ago. 643 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, no other receiver eclipsed 300 yards, but again, that was partially in turn to the lack of quarterback play, but Jacarius Caston coming back, DeMarcus Jones coming back, some other pieces coming back there as well. Defensively, a lot coming back as well. Josh Ratcliffe, Aaron Odom, Dominic Quaywan. Now, Dominic Quaywan only had 7 tackles last year, but 3 of them were sacks. And Aaron Odom is a transfer coming in. Again, I believe over from Mississippi State. Should be one of the lead defensive ends here on this team. Linebackers, you got Hayes Maples and Josh Carr. Couple names coming back for this team as well. A couple top 5 tacklers from this team a season ago as well. In fact, Josh Carr, 4 sacks. Believe that led the team last season. When you look at the defensive back group as well, you got Malik Shorts, Jay Stanley, a couple guys with 2 picks a season ago. Tylen Knight is coming back as well. And then also Natrone Brooks, who led the team with 8 passes defended and had a pick 6 a season ago as well. So there's a lot of experience, a lot of talent coming back on this Southern Miss team. But when you take a look at the schedule, especially, I mean, there are a lot of tricky games here for Southern Miss, especially when you look at Sun Belt play. Again, joining the Sun Belt Conference, I think it's going to take a little bit to adjust because the Sun Belt, not an easy conference to play in. We'll talk more about that later. But looking at their non-conference slate first, man, there are a lot of tough non-conference games on the schedule. You got a home game against Liberty to open the season. Then you got to go on the road to play Miami. You come back home to play Northwestern State, and then on the road again to play Tulane. Now, 3 out of those 4 teams, again, the one not in this conversation being Northwestern State, I think Southern Miss is going to see their struggles against. Liberty, yes, they don't have Malik Willis at the quarterback position, but they still have Charlie Brewer. If he can put together a season like he did in 2019, could still be a good team. Miami, a team that can push for an ACC title this year, bringing in Mario Cristobal from Oregon. And then Tulane had an abysmal year last year, but should be much, much better than they were a season ago. When you look at Sun Belt play, road games against Troy, Texas State, Coastal Carolina, and University of Louisiana Monroe. And then home games against Arkansas State, Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Georgia State, and South Alabama. So let's talk about this team here for Southern Miss in 2022. Their non-conference slate is tough, yes. I mean, getting Liberty at home, again, no Malik Willis, but when you throw in Charlie Brewer with some of the other playmakers that are there for this Liberty team, Liberty can still be dangerous, and Liberty can still give a lot of teams a lot of heartbreak and fight. When you look at this Miami team, it's a Miami team that's probably going to be a top 25 team at least in the nation this upcoming year. I'm a real believer in what Mario Cristobal is doing. I think Miami, maybe not this year, but next year can push for a spot in the college football playoff realm. It's a Miami team that's going to see massive improvements this year, and going on the road to play, you probably don't have much of a shot. Going on the road to play Tulane there as well, I do think Tulane is going to be a much improved team than they were a season ago. They got a lot of nice talent there on that team, so watch out for Tulane this year. But once you get into conference play, things don't get easy. You got to go on the road to play Troy to start off your Sun Belt campaign. Troy, I like what they have coming back next year. Then you get a couple fairly solid games, or a couple fairly easy wins here at home against Arkansas State, on the road against Texas State. And then you have a nice, hard 3-game stretch with Louisiana, Georgia State, Coastal Carolina. 3 teams right there. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw any 3 of them in the conference championship game in 2022 at home against South Alabama. Probably going to be a game that can help decide which of those 2 teams makes a bowl game or not. and then on the road to play ULM there as well. And ULM, a team that won 4 games last year, can prove to be tricky if everything clicks like it did last year for the Warhawks. Now, I don't do game-by-game predictions. I do a more percentage-based outlook to help me predict a team's record. So if the game is in red, I just don't see you winning the game. I don't think you have much of a shot. Game is in orange. Well, I probably still don't see you winning, but it is college football and upsets can happen. Yellow, you're 50-50 high upset potential games. Games in yellow-green are games that you should win, but you got to watch out for the team on the other side of the ball. And games in green, I do have you winning. So when you look at their non-conference schedule, really only one game in green. That's the Northwestern State game. Probably should be able to win that. Otherwise, I don't like their chances in any of the other non-conference games that they play. Again, on the road at Tulane, figures to be a fairly interesting game. Again, that's a team with Tulane that should be a lot better than they were a season ago. They got a lot of nice talent on this team. And going on the road to play there, I just don't know that Southern Miss is going to be able to get it done. Same thing on the road in Hard Rock. Look, they're not going to get that win against Miami. Miami's going to be too good of a team. Flat out, it's just that simple. Now, that home game against Liberty, they can start the season off strong with a win there. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me to see them win the game there. I just don't necessarily think it's going to happen. I think Liberty is the better team in this sense. They definitely have the more experienced quarterback there. And I think Charlie Brewer, especially if he can do what he did in 2019 this year for Liberty, I think is the much better quarterback than whoever Southern Miss were to have start. Yes, Southern Miss gets the game at home, and it could be a nice springboard into the season. I just don't know that they're going to be able to get the things done against the Liberty Flames. So when you get into Sun Belt play, there are a lot of hard games there as well. Louisiana, Georgia State, and Coastal Carolina right there, I think, are 3 very hard games. Yes, the Georgia State game is in yellow, but it is because that they get Georgia State at home. So maybe they can pull off an upset there. And then on the road at Troy, I think they need to pull off an upset to win that one there. You do have lots of winnable games in non-conference play, in my opinion. On the road against ULM, I think is a very winnable game. It's a ULM team that may not win 4 games again this year. Still has a lot of talent coming back for it, though. Arkansas State and Texas State, teams that are probably going to move in the right direction this year. But again, those are 2 teams that could, again, have their struggles in 2022. And then when you look at elsewhere, I think that South Alabama game is the most crucial swing game that Southern Miss has on the schedule. If they want to make a bowl game, they got to be able to win that game there at the end of the season. But when I look at this Southern Miss team, I think there are a lot of hard games on the schedule for this team. And also, moving into the Sun Belt Conference is going to be a little bit of an adjustment. It's a lot tougher of a conference than Conference USA was. And Conference USA had some pretty solid teams a year ago. But there are a lot of teams that can push for a Sun Belt title here. And Southern Miss, while I really, really, really think this team can make it a bowl game, my prediction is going to put them 1 win short. And that, in part, is due to their non-conference schedule. I think 4-4, 500 in the Sun Belt Conference is very attainable with the teams that they have on the schedule. But when you look at the non-conference slate, I mean, really the only win I see in non-conference is that Northwestern State game. Every other game in non-conference you see is highlighted in orange or red. And more likely than not, again, they're going to lose to Miami. I think we all know that. On the road to Tulane, I think they're going to have a hard time with. I think another big swing game is that game against Liberty there. Could decide whether or not they make a bowl game. I hope this Southern Miss team can push their way into a bowl. I'm excited to watch what this team can do. However, I do have this team falling just short at 5-7. So let me know what you guys think about the Golden Eagles in the comment section below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, anything like that. Help support the channel. Remember to play hard but tailgate hard, or I will see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.